think everything I had to say, I said in the article that I wrote for the agenda item. That the rumors, to whom I'm not going to blame any one person, but the rumors are out there, and I've written down what those rumors are, have affected the morale of employees, particularly those employees of the Parks Department. Okay?
Mayor, is there a motion on the floor? Seriously, dude, you want to do your job? It's parliamentary procedure. It's Robert's Rules of Order. Specifically states a motion has to be on the floor for discussion to commence. That's your job, Mayor.
After a brief introduction. Is there a motion, sir?
No, I'm not going to manage it. Let's just skip it. Everybody can read it. Everybody knows what's out there.
Is there a motion on the next item?
I'm not going to make a motion, okay? Do I have a, what, please define to me what a brief time so I know what I can say. How long can I speak with
we're
it?
allowed an introductory comment.
Brief introductory comment.
Okay. I'll make a brief introductory comment. I wrote some things that were, I find, relative to the performance of the city manager. The city manager performance is reflected on those people who appointed him here. And I'm not going to comment any further because come Monday morning, I'm going to file 13 ethics charges of criminal and ethical behavior. And I don't have to have a second for that.
Next item on the agenda. Discussion and action to use the city manager's vehicle.
Okay. I believe the vehicle is being used improperly. I want to make a motion. That motion is that the vehicle, the utility vehicle operated by the city manager be returned to the Parks Department, and the city manager vehicle that was previously assigned be returned to City Hall for use by the city manager. That's a pretty simple motion.
I'll second that one. Do we have any further discussion on that item?
I'd like to discuss it now.
Yes.
When Mr. Hill was in the Parks Department, he had to have a utility vehicle with capability to haul stuff around. That was part of the requirements for that vehicle. The first day he's on the job, he takes a sedan. And by the way, I want to make it real clear, Mrs. French did not come to me on this, okay? I got calls and complaints from City Hall, and I got calls and complaints from other employees in the city. So we'll move on that. So what does he do? He goes out and he goes, gets the vehicle, returns it here, okay? And uses it himself where the park superintendent now has to go get concession stand supplies in her vehicle, in the sedan. Why?
Is there a second on that motion?
Yeah, there was.
Second.
So, somebody want to tell me what the rationale on that is? Other than the fact that the city manager can do it, he can move any vehicle anywhere in this thing?
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Yes.
When you swapped vehicles with the parks, did you ask Ms. French or ask the staff or anybody if it would be a problem, and if they needed at this point in time to go do any errands or whatever, it's available to them should the need arise?
Yes, when I did it, I brought Ms. French into the office and asked her, told her what I wanted to do, and she had no problem with me doing it. There are several trucks at the park. They brought a brand new truck, which she drove last time to get concession supplies, so I don't see a problem with it. But she had no problem when I switched vehicles.
But if there was a need for anyone outside of, even outside of parks,
Any city employee that needs a vehicle, absolutely.
What was wrong with the sedan that?
Not a thing.
You just wanted to.
Well, they have like 4 or 5. They have several trucks down there, and when I brought her in, I told her that I prefer driving the truck, and I could see a need for four-wheel drive depending on where you went looking at projects and stuff, and she was all fine with it, and that is totally what I did, which is totally in my prerogative to do.
Next.
Okay? The fact that there's such a high level of intimidation out there, I believe she'd agree to anything. People are running scared in the city employees. They're intimidated and they're running scared. Morale is low. They're afraid of their jobs. They're afraid of Curly.
That's right.
They're afraid of his appointee. Okay? Let me give you an example. I'm going to give one example, and the rest you can read in the ethics violations. 0930, 1 April, in the office of the city manager, he called in Rod Show. He told him that he wanted him to be the permanent police chief, and that he believed 4 or 5 of those candidates or councilmen agreed with him. But Curly didn't agree with him because he had not arrested Mr. Andrews, the director of school, and Mr. Souza, and he had a problem with him.
Mayor, what does this have to do with the vehicle?
I still have the floor. I still have the floor. He didn't call a point of order. I still have the floor.
Mayor, do you care to bring Councilman Souza back into order? Because this has.
I believe
on the floor.
Councilman Curley's out of order. I was making a point, and the point is intimidation. The city is running with intimidation. The city employees are afraid of their jobs. Now, they're not going to stand up here and say that because they're not going to be profiled. But they've come to me. And it's time this stops.
Any other discussion on this agenda item?
Yeah.
Quiet, please. Councilmember White.
Have you ever had an employee come to you on this issue? My phone number's in the Crossville every week. I've never had one.
Well, here's where I'm gonna hang my hat. We're not supposed to interfere with operations. If there's an issue about a vehicle and the Parks and Recreation Department has a problem and they feel like they need that vehicle, that's between the city manager and the department manager to come together and work that out. That's not for this council to decide whether who drives what, where, when. This is just ridiculous. So I think that Mr. Hill and Ms. French can talk and they can work out anything they need to work out to ensure that our Parks and Recreation Department has the vehicles they need to go pick up whatever it is that they need. And I just think this is just way out of control and just shameful that we are sitting here discussing this stuff. And I don't know what else to say.
Mayor, one more comment.
Yes.
I agree. Of course, I didn't sit down and I don't fraternize with the city manager, okay? I'm going to tell you something. Everything you said is absolutely correct when we have a functional system, and we do not have a functional system with this current city manager. It's that plain and simple. There's people sitting on this board who came to me and complained about the performance of Mr. Hill when he was a park superintendent. Now, I'm not going to continue this anymore because I'm going to file charges. And by the way, I've already read the EOC charge that has been filed against the city in this regard. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming down. And it's going to be legal stuff. and there isn't gonna be any hushing it up.
Can you read the motion, Sally?
The motion is that the pickup utility vehicle being used by the city manager be returned to the Parks Department, that the sedan previously designated be returned to the city manager.
Roll call vote, please.
Actually, Mayor, I think I get the right.
Yes,
Councilman
sir.
Souza got 3 times there. So, Counselor, you've seen all the, I'll pick my word wisely, opinion that Councilman Souza put out, not only to the city hall, but to the press, not just here, but Cookville, that in no shape, form, or fashion was in any way trying to benefit the city of Crossville. What I want to know is, from you, me and you discussed this already, is the city of Crossville, does that bring any liability down on the city of Crossville? Would he have been acting in his capacity as a city councilor when he turned those over to the press outside of the council meeting?
Well,
What I'm asking is, are we liable for his actions when he turned all that conspiracy theory over?
Well, I think that the council, anytime they're acting in their official capacity, present some liability for the city as a whole. Anytime a council member is acting as an individual, outside of that capacity, they're going to be personally liable for those things. I can't comment on whether any one individual would be liable in a certain situation.
There's pretty defamating materials in there that has no evidence whatsoever.
Wrong answer.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
yes, sir.
Is this motion interfering with the charter, day-to-day activity?
Well, I'd need to look at that and get back with you, study a little closer, so prepared to answer that tonight.
I think you're right. Charter states that the city manager handles operations, and we deal with the city manager.
I withdraw my motion.
Next item on the
Hang on a
agenda.
second, Mayor. If you knew that, why did you second Councilman Souza's motion?
I did. Yeah, I said, so it was, talked a lot about.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda, city attorney's report.